Sanborn into the Thanksgiving cooking sherry this afternoon? Man, oh man, oh man, we're coming on here like Saturday Night Live. Good evening, folks, and welcome back, everybody. I'm Tom. The simulcast is on the air now for Thanksgiving Eve, the 22nd of November, 1995. Don Rickles here tonight. Two of his pictures open today. One is called Toy Story, in which he does voiceover. The other is a picture called Casino, which has been long awaited. We had the author here, Nicholas Pileggi, here about 3-4 weeks ago, and this picture stars Robert De Niro and Sharon Stone and Joe Pesci and Don Rickles. My daughter saw it today and she said it's an absolutely terrific picture. Don Rickles has been entertaining us all for over 35 years. He is an accomplished actor. He has 2 major motion pictures opening today. Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. Thanks for coming over and welcome back to our show.
Thank you for having me, Tom.
My daughter saw Casino this afternoon with her mother. She raved about this picture, and she said, you were wonderful. Now, there's a scene in the picture, and I told you this, where Joe Pesci hits you with a phone. Give me the setup on this. What happens?
Well, he was upset. The whole picture's upset. In fact, he beat up Martin Scorsese, who's not even in the show. And Joe was very upset, and he plays this guy, Nick Spalato, and who's, you know, like, tough guy.
Tough guy, yeah.
And he comes over to the casino, and I did something I don't recall. One of those things I did that wasn't too nice, and he didn't like it, and boom, boom, boom. And he proceeds to beat me up with a telephone.
Now, the reaction in the crowd today was, wait a second, you can't beat up Don Rickles.
Really?
You know, take a swing at De Niro. Hit Sharon, don't hit Don Rickles. I mean, you know, and she said...
They should have punched De Niro.
She said the whole picture is just over the top. De Niro's great, you're great. Sharon Stone, I guess, gives an Academy Award performance.
Yeah, she was wonderful in it, yeah.
And so now, I know you've had, you know, training as an actor when you were a young man living back east, but here you are with Martin Scorsese, who is, if not the, one of the directors of our time, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Sharon Stone. What's it like working with these people?
Well, you know, it's tough because every day you got to put phone books under Scorsese's chair so he can see the actors. It's annoying, you know, every day, you know. Where's my phone books, you know? And I hate to work with little guys like that. You know, runs under the cameras like a mole. You know, get out of here. You know, pulls on your socks. Get out. Oh, that's the director, you know. And De Niro was great, you know. In fact, we did the scene. It's like the same thing. I come from the nightclubs, as you know. Right. And I've done acting and I've done movies, but these guys are real method stuff, you know. Like Clint Eastwood, who? Clint Eastwood. Look at the example I give you. He's in a pickup truck with a can of beer, and he said, "Am I acting?" He didn't know where he is. But De Niro, they say, "Roll him," and he goes, "Wait a minute," and I'm doing this the whole movie. What? I want to get one of those horns. And then, of course, I would be out of control. I would go, "The men are in trouble." And he'd go, I swear to God, I was a lip reader.
No kidding. So yeah. he does
No, he's a fine actor. I'm kidding around. But the idea is that they really, when you work with De Niro and Scorsese, that whole outfit, really, Pesci, you know, they make everything come alive. You don't realize you're doing a movie. I mean, Marty is so great. He really is.
And let me ask you about staying in character. I would assume like De Niro and Pesci, for the whole day, even when they're down, while they're resetting, that they're in character all the time. They don't slip out of character, or do they?
Well, they do, because I slap them in the face.
Oh, I see.
No, I usually, Marty always said, you know, cut, and then De Niro would invariably say, you know, like, do you think I should take the gun out now? And I said, Marty, listen, Bob, it's 6 o'clock. Take the gun out, huh? I'd like to go home, all right? Take the gun out, otherwise you're going to have a funny hand. And then you'll be on the Jerry Lewis telethon by yourself. Understand?
We have a little snippet of Casino.
Really?
Yes, we do. And this is a scene, I believe, involving Don and Joe Pesci. Is that correct?
Yeah.
In fact, this may well be the telephone scene. It could very well be. So let's take a look at this and see what we've got. This is Casino coming up.
Yeah, Sam, we got a problem.
What is it?
The little guy. He's half in a bag, and nobody told him he was 86 from the joint. So we all turned our heads and made out like we didn't know who he was. He's over at the 21 table with his nose wide open. He took the money out of his own kick, and his nose is open for about 10,000.
Oh, no.
He wants a 50,000 marker.
No, just give him 10. That's it, 10. I'll be right down.
It's going to come up with 10,000 just the way you want it.
No.
Yeah, 10,000.
50,000. Go get it.
I guess you and Pesci have a running battle through this picture.
He's a crude little guy. Crude.
You've worked in Las Vegas for a long, long time. Did you work there when organized crime ran Las Vegas?
Yeah, but we didn't know it as organized crime. You know, we used to hang out in the sand steam room with Frank Sinatra, you know. And Frank used to be in there, and guys would come in and out, you know. They weren't exactly, you know, guys with ballet shoes doing the, you know, the tango. You know,
understand.
guys came in, they usually, you know, said, "Well, you want?" And you always thought they had a sore throat, but they were choking on gunpowder. And I told that joke, and I can't find my aunt in the Bronx.
You have taken on all comers all your life, haven't you? You've taken everybody on.
Yeah, well, the only guy I would cooled it with was the Pope, because, you know, we Jews, we sell you guys the hats. And so I figured I gotta be nice, you know what I mean? He wants a pink one, and we didn't manufacture that.
I understand.
We don't have pink, only white and black.
Yeah, right.
And sometimes blue or beige. Don't you notice he always keeps doing this, and two Jews are behind him going, "He needs another one!" Now all the Catholics are going to come over to the house and go with blowguns.
But anyway, Vegas then and now. Now Las Vegas is run by big business, by businessmen.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Ed Johnson, Tommy Thompson, all guys with little boils on the neck, you know what I mean? With the tight collars, and they go, "Want to gamble? Crap, crap, crap," you know. Now, I know the guys that went, "Hey, you want to have a party? We have a party."
Right.
In other words, when you wanted to have a special affair, you just picked up the phone, and there was one guy to answer to. Today, you make out a chit, and 7 guys phone you, you know, and then a guy, and everybody has a card in Vegas now. Senior vice president, executive senior vice president, vice president, junior vice president in charge of parking, parking vice president. Here, I'm the vice president in charge of vice presidents. And one guy has in his fly, "I'm in charge of underwear, vice president."
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, they all got cards.
But back when you started there, when the guys ran it, I'm told there was just an atmosphere there. Like if a guy went there and lost a lot of money, they'd make sure you got home okay, you know, or they'd buy you a meal.
Oh, yeah, they would treat you to drinks and dinner. Yeah. And, you know, everything was comped. I mean, your suite was comped. Today, you know, after you lose about 50, 60, 70,000, the guy says, "Taxi! Get this guy a taxi."
No, kidding, really?
No, but they're not as liberal as they were in those days. Those days, they gave you the moon. I mean, the guys were terrific guys. I mean, I worked for some great men. In fact, this fella, Ace Rothstein, you know, that Bob De Niro plays in the movie, is Frank Rosenthal, who still, I believe, is living in Florida. And I was on his television show in the Stardust with Frank Sinatra.
Did you ever see Howard Hughes there at all? Remember, he lived there at that hotel for a
No,
while?
but there was a guy that kept coming over to my room with long hair and funny nails. I didn't know who he was. He had a broom and everything. He kept saying, "Boo," you know. I don't know who the hell he was.
But you never saw him there, you know?
No, nobody ever saw him. He was up in the suite at the Desert Inn, and you'd see the curtains open slightly, and a guy, you know, you thought Halloween was over. You know, aha. It's one of those.
He used to watch the TV over there late at night because he was up all night.
Yeah, he was a real eccentric man.
And Hank Greenspun, who owned the paper.
Great guy.
Yeah, owned the TV
you
station.
really know your history.
Remember?
Oh, Hank was great.
Yeah, and Hughes would call him at night, and he'd say, "You know, Hank," he says, "I don't like the movies." He says, "Change the movies." And,
well, you know, Tom Mix.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Ken Maynard.
But I think if my memory's right, Hughes finally got so exasperated, he bought the TV station so he could run the movies he wanted.
That's what he did. That's what he did.
We are with Don Rickles, whose pictures, we'll talk about Toy Story coming up and Casino opening today. The toll-free line is up and running for all of you at 800-952-2788. We'll be right back with Don after these messages. With Don Rickles, here is Helen on the toll-free, Boca Raton, Florida. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Mr. Rickles?
Yes, ma'am.
From the perspective of an entertainer who has spent a great deal of time performing in Las Vegas, do you see any differences in audiences and their reactions over the years, and what has been your funniest experience with an audience member?
It's a very good question, by the way.
Well, my funniest experience when they all got up and left. No, I find that, see, I deal with people, dear, and so people never change. I mean, people are people. And so my whole performance every night, I have a beginning, middle, and ending. But the punchline is that it always changes with what's in the audience in front of me. And so maybe 4 or 5 minutes of the performance becomes different. So for me, it's always been, no matter what the times are, I go with the times and what's in front of me. And so that makes my performance kind of compact and kind of different every night. So it really doesn't change for me.
But do you change things in your act according to what's happening in the news, or what part of the country you're in, or what kind of a room you're playing, or do you just basically go out there and take on, as I say, all comers?
No, well, I don't delve into the country so much, or politics. I go into about people and exaggerate them.
Right.
If I see somebody in the front that, you know, that's dressed funny, or in my opinion, or just has an odd tie on or something, I can make a whole thing out of it.
Right.
But I don't get into the politics and so forth, and Clinton or...
Yeah. Have we answered your question, Helen?
Yes, you have.
Okay, you have a happy Thanksgiving now.
Same to you, Tom.
All right, bye-bye
Save a
now.
setting.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
save a setting. You never know. When you were a young man, your desire was to be an actor. You studied acting for a time. In fact, you studied with Jason Robards, and you studied with some Grace Kelly.
And Bancroft.
And Bancroft.
Yeah.
And when did you decide that acting was not going to do it, that you would turn to comedy?
When they started to stare at me. No, when I mean, tried...
In high school, you did the plays, you did theater.
Yeah, I was the president of Mask and Bauble. That was the Dramatic Society in Queens, in my high school. I was president of the school, too. If World War II hadn't come, I'd still be there. I kept saying, hip, hip, let's hear it for the Japanese. Anyway, and I ran right to the dock. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And ever since then, I never touched rice. But I don't know what that means, but who cares? You know, you just sit there and hope that time goes by. I felt that when I couldn't get a job on Broadway trying to be an actor, I read for Mr. Roberts. I read for a lot of things.
Mr. Roberts?
Yeah, I did. I read for Josh Logan, and I read for Jose Ferrer, and for another play, Stalag 17. And I never could get a job. I did a thing with a guy called Ken Howard, an off-Broadway play. That was it. And suddenly I started to kid around, you know, making fun of my friends.
But when you read for Stalag 17, do you remember what parts you read for? The only reason I ask is that was our high school senior play back in Milwaukee. Stalag.
Was it really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's great to hear, Tom.
No, it's not.
I'm delighted.
Takes on all comers.
Yeah. No, Tom, I don't really remember. That's a lot of years ago. I don't really remember the part, Tom. And gee, dumb question. 30 years ago, he's asking me what the part. Notice how I'm talking to the wall. Got a great audience here. It's a wall. But I tried hard. But what the bottom line was that the jokes were getting me a few bucks here and there, and I started like everything was relative. When I started to make $150, I said, "Wow, what a score! I'm doing great." And when I made $300 a week, I said, wow, you know.
Yeah.
So everything was right, and I was delighted with that. And yet I always had that burning desire to be an actor. I still love when I get a part. That's why I'm so thrilled to be in Casino and in Toy Story. Anything with acting I've always loved. But I have to go what pays the rent. And, you know, we have a big home, and the driveway's about 30 miles. Well, you know,
I understand.
And the dogs, the hunting dogs, they keep snapping.
Not to mention the upkeep for spouse and kids.
Right, and my wife with the jewelry signaling ships. Not easy.
Carol in Greer, South Carolina. Hi, and welcome to CBS.
Hi, happy anniversary. Look forward to the 200,000.
Well, thank you very kindly. Thank you. 200,000. I don't know what you're on out there, lady, but
he'll go mildew.
I wanted to ask Mr. Rickles if he ever went to college to study acting, and if so, where?
Do I look like a guy that went to college?
Yes, sir.
I had trouble standing in front of the building. No, dear, I never went to college. I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and that was my training. And so that's all I had to do as an actor. But I never had. I wish I had gone to college, but it was tough because I never studied Bell, you know, and so it was very tough.
Well, you do a wonderful job, one way or the other.
Well, thank you.
Have you ever seen Don Rickles in person, Carol?
No, sir.
Well, do yourself a favor. If he's in your area or you get to the venues, Las Vegas or Atlantic City, watch this man work. It's a tour de force.
Well, thank you. Where are you from?
Greer, South Carolina, which is between Greenville and Spartanburg.
Yeah, I have an uncle there.
I think the funniest thing that I've ever seen him do was...
I don't see him. Last time I saw him, he was cleaning a tobacco leaf.
Not much around here anymore.
Well, you listen to crickets and go to bed early.
I think the greatest thing he's done is the routine with Johnny Carson where they had the tub of water.
Yes,
great routine.
It was a great routine. He annoyed me with that, you know. Yeah. I'm only kidding.
Anyway, Carol, thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Have a happy Thanksgiving and a happy holiday season.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck to you.
All right, bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
The other night here, they videotaped a program for ABC to mark the 80th birthday of Frank Sinatra, and I trust that you were there. Can you take us backstage and just tell us about what happened there?
Well, there was a lot of great stars, and Frank came in, and he walked over to me and spilled his drink on me. That relaxes him. No, that's a joke. He didn't do that. He could have, but he didn't. And everybody was there. Tony Bennett was there, and he kept coming up to me going, "It's taller than the tallest tree is." I said, "Fine, Johnny." You know, I gave him a cookie, and he went away. You know. And Johnny Depp was there, wonderful kid, fine actor. You know, I never met him before. He said, "Mr. Rickles." That's when you know you're up there when I call him Mr.
Notice all the
Rickles.
callers tonight, Mr. Rickles.
You know, and he's a young star, and he called me Mr. Rickles, and he was delighted to meet me, and I got very emotional about it, but he was a nice kid. And
you had your picture in the paper today with Roseanne.
Yeah, right. And Roseanne was there. She's a doll.
And did all these people did you perform?
Yes, I did. No, I was a caterer. I was there serving.
I thought...
I was walking around saying, would you like another hors d'oeuvre?
Oh, stop it. I thought maybe there were...
How about a sandwich? Who wants a sandwich?
I thought maybe just...
Don't get on my nerves, Tom. What do you think I was there for?
I always get on your nerves.
Gee, no, you don't. No, you don't.
But I thought maybe just the singers sang and that the rest were invited
Well,
guests.
it was predominantly singers,
Okay.
but they had the comedians. They had myself, and they had Tom Dreesen, they had Norm Crosby, and who else did they have? And they had... well, I probably left out somebody.
And did Sinatra sing other than joining a group to sing, I believe, New York?
At the end, he sang New York, New York. And then he sat down and oiled his gun and went home. I told that to Frank, and the guy with him went, what, are you cute? Tony O is a good kid. He hangs out.
What were the jokes that made Sinatra like you? Remember way back when?
Yeah, well, I was the first guy. He was told by some good people in those days that this kid is different, and he's your kind of thing and your kind of style.
Yeah.
And Frank was great. And when he'd bring a bunch of people, the first time he ever saw me was in Florida, I believe, to the best of my recollection. Walter Winchell in those days was very big. And Winchell heard that Sinatra was coming to see me in a place called Murray Franklin's. And Frank came with all these guys, and I walked up and I said, hey, Frank, be yourself. Stand up and hit somebody. You know? and they all went like this, the guys with him. And Frank went, ha, 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 and they all went, ha, 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 ha. You know, they all had little strings on there, you know what, you know.
Yeah.
And they all laughed. And that was the beginning of a great friendship. And my mother, rest her soul, and Frank's mother, rest her soul, became friends. Dolly and my mother, Etta, my mother used to talk with her a great deal when she was at the Fontainebleau in Florida. And they had good times together. And Frank was always great to my mother. And then he got to know me as a person. And I love the guy. I think he's... and the other night was very touching because he's a great legend. He's a great legend.
No question.
The man is... I mean, he's had, you know, rough times when he's been... You know, people say tough and stuff, but the chemistry of the guy, Tom, is magnificent. He really is special.
You know, all these records are coming out in all these collections, the Reprise collection and the Capitol Years and all, and you listen to some of the stuff, but we were playing a song of his the other day called In the Wee Small Hours of the Morning. I mean, some of his songs, they just tear your heart out. I mean, he just...
In my single days, I got a lot of broads with his music, a lot of broads. In the wee small hours, and it was a hooker. So that's not easy, you know, when you have a woman of the evening. You know?
Why were you single till you were 38 years old? You were a bachelor a long time.
Had pimples.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of acne. No, I was always on the hunt. See, I was on the road a lot. And every time I met a singer, if a girl went, rock-a-bye, who was that? And, you know, I was always making moves and so forth and traveling a lot. I was a lonely guy. And I finally met my wife, who was a valiant, actually. You know, when I met her, she was a very dignified lady and a beautiful wife. I'm married 30 years. We have a great marriage. And she understood me, and she knew that I was all put on. But when you travel like I did, it was very difficult to meet the girl of your dreams. And thank God I was blessed with my Barbara. Really, she's special.
We are with Don Rickles and you on the toll-free. We'll be right back after this break. We're with Don Rickles and joined by Carol in Appleton, Wisconsin. Happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for calling us up tonight, Carol.
Well, same to you, Tom.
Thanks.
Hey, Don.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd really like to hear who was your favorite person to pick on off-screen.
Off-screen?
Yes.
Well, I think the guy I really rib is Bob Newhart, my dear friend, yeah. I rib Bob continuously, and he's wonderful about it. He just walks away from me.
Well, what about your most recent shows like Toy Story and Casino?
Yeah, well, I ribbed Robert De Niro a lot. And when we did Toy Story, that's, as a matter of fact, I never saw Tom Hanks until it was at the premiere, or the other gentleman.
He's a terrific guy, Hanks.
Yeah.
He stopped by, you know, after he won the Academy Award.
Tom was a lovely guy, yeah. But I never, of course, we did it in a sound booth, and we didn't have the other actors weren't with us. We just did it alone with John Lasseter, the director. It's an interesting method, and you just do it like a radio show, and you just talk into the microphone.
And then the animation comes later, after you've done all the tracks. After they've done all the voices, Carol, then they do the animation.
Yeah, with computers, so you didn't have to match the voice. You just did, when you were angry, you were angry. When you were happy, you were happy.
And then will this be like other Disney pictures, for example, in Beauty and the Beast? Remember how all the characters looked like the people who were the voices, like Mrs. Potts, the tea kettle, kind of looked like Angela Lansbury, you know?
Well, they tell me that I look like Potato Head, and I got a little shook up because Potato Head's falling apart right in front of the people.
That's your part, Potato Head,
right? So I get up in the middle of the night and say, what happened to my arm? You know, so But
Say, the old, say hi to Mr. Potato. You remember that one, don't
yeah.
you?
Can I go on, Tom?
Sure.
It's like being alone here.
You would know.
Man talks and answers all the questions. No, actually, Tom, the idea is the character Potato Head really is associated with me because it's supposedly a grumpy kind of guy and sarcastic, which I play all the time. So that's pretty much the story.
Okay. Carol, there you go. Thanks for dialing us up. Yeah.
Can I ask Don one more thing?
Sure.
Hey, Don, do you think you could possibly come to Wisconsin? Us cheeseheads would love to be insulted by your humor.
The cheeseheads.
I would kind of... When do you have your next furniture show?
Oh, next Wednesday.
Because I'll bring the wax and so forth, and maybe I could work the furniture show. I'll someday get to Wisconsin.
It would be nice, because I know there would be big ticket sales. You're
that's
an
very
excellent
sweet.
comedian. Everybody loves you up here.
Thank you, darling. Let's have lunch.
Oh, gee, by all means. Come on up and see me.
Give me a break, lady.
Yeah, right.
No, God bless you. We'll work it out.
Give it
She'll
around.
look for me.
We'll see ya, and
Okay.
have a happy Thanksgiving to
Thanks,
you, too.
Carol.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, darling.
Same to you.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Probably have a hot ham.
What about you and royalty? Didn't you once give a performance like for Princess Margaret?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I don't know if I told this story before. I did in England. I was at the show, and I got up on the stage, and I did all the jokes about the Queen and the boom, and Princess Margaret was there, and Bob Hope brought us over there. I was there with Newhart. Newhart said, "Don't say too much about the Queen, or don't. You know, I don't know. He gets stuck.
Well, he's rather tightly wound, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
I figured a year or so he will be in a home. No question about it. The man, I mean,
very
so anyway, so we were sitting together, and Bob said, "Boom, gee, it seems to be because I did good. I really did. I made fun of everybody, and all the royalty was there, and Sean Connery at that time, and Tully Savalas, rest his soul, and a lot of stars, and Roger Moore, and they were all, you know, and the place was packed, and I made fun. How'd the Queen get all the money, and blah blah blah, and I did all these jokes. When it was all over, a guy comes in and says, "Ma'am would like to see you." And Bob Hope went, "Oh, gee," and Newhart went, "I'll get the bags packed and get ready to go to the airport. It's over, you know." I said, "Well, I don't know, maybe she wants it." No, it don't look good. Anyway, I got up, and I went with my wife, and we went over, and I had their Secret Service, Scotland Yard, and we sat down. Everybody thought I was going to get chewed out for making fun of the Princess Margaret and so forth. And I sat down, and I said, "Princess, it's ma'am." I said, Your Majesty." She said, "Don't call me Your Majesty, call me ma'am." She said, "Would you like a drink?" I said, "Yeah." And, you know, I didn't know that she liked gin, and she went, "Ow." And I went, "Hey, this is a hell of a princess." Boom, you know. And the two of us were going, "Dalen, boom."
By the way,
I said, now I know why they didn't lose the war. Boy. They sat with Churchill down in the basement going, "To the Messerschmitts, boom." So
she was pretty good with the gin, yeah.
yeah. Oh, she whacked it down nice.
Yeah.
In fact, her leg kept going boom. So anyway, I don't know what that. So
what did she have to say about?
So she turned around. She said, first of all, she said, "Are you a Jew?" I said, "How do you like this? Royalty is anti-Semitic." She said, and then what's his name? Anthony Quayle was standing next to her, the entourage, and the small gentleman, John Mills, who was a submarine commander, who was on a box to see the periscope. So they said, no, Dawn, that's just her way, because she has a dossier about you. I said, oh, good. I said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." She said, she said, "I know all about you." She said, "You're awfully quick." I said, "Thank you, ma'am." She said, "Your mother lives in Miami at that time. Your mother lives in Miami in a condominium." I said, "Yes, she does, and she's 80 years old." She said, "Yes." She said, "What a coincidence. My mom is 80 years old, and she lives right down the street." She's talking about the palace, right?
The Queen,
I
of
said,
course.
"Yeah, okay, right down the street." She said, "And you know something else? Your mom, I understand, has emphysema." I said, "Yes." She said, "My mom does too." I said, "That's so interesting. So both moms have emphysema."
Yeah.
She said, "So there's no difference?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, there is." She said, "What's that?" "Your mom has a flag on the roof." True story.
That's wonderful.
It's a true story.
Now, when you go back to Newhart and the rest, did you tell him what transpired there, or do you just keep this all?
Oh, yeah, I told Bob.
God.
But that time he had about 12 gins, so he didn't care.
Your mom has a flag on the roof. So the holidays coming up. What do the Rickles do for the holidays?
Well, every year we spend it. Ginny and Bob and their family. They're most gracious, and they have my wife and I and my children and my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law. And he has the whole family. They're marvelous people. I mean, jokes aside, I've been very blessed having them as dear friends. The two of them. They've been exceptionally loyal, and we too. And how, as we've discussed off camera many times, how many people in this industry get a chance where 4 people can go to China, go around the world practically together, and never really have an out-and-out beef or any problem.
Traveling with one other person is tough enough.
Yeah, and you know, we have our moments where we don't agree on such things, but it's not. It's a love, though. It's a marriage between 2 couples, and I'm delighted with that friendship. So I look forward to the holidays when I spend with them.
Listen, all America's your friend, pal. Happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for coming over tonight.
And you're a dear gentleman, Tom, and thanks so much. And I'll try to get you in for the casino. I'll try to get you comped.
Stick it in your ear. Good night, pal.
Thanks.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Back with Roy Firestone after these messages.